Now, our first stop is to a place we call OR Tambo Talks, where our talk show host and my colleague, Derek Watts, will be getting better acquainted with the general manager of OR Tambo International Airport, Ms. Bongiwe Pityi. So, ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of applause for Mr. Derek Watts and for Ms. Bongiwe Pityi.
Thanks very much, Claire, for that wonderful introduction. Apologies for the slight technical problems. It's like being in the carte blanche studio, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Anyway, great to be with you again. And welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to OR Talks. And Bongiwe, before we get into the serious business, we chatted a bit earlier, and you've got something top secret. Which you don't want anybody to know, but now I'm a journalist. No, seriously, there's something very significant that you want to say really to everybody here tonight.
Thank you, Derek. You know, the airport environment or work within the aviation sector is really a 365, 247 type of work. So it is important that once in a while, we also step back and recognize our loved ones, families, and those that really support us as we journey through our careers within this space. So tonight, or this year, we decided to change the format by having an evening event as opposed to a day event. The only reason why we did that was to ensure that we can get families as well as loved ones. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for all that you do, for the love and support, starting also with my better half. And so I think to give each and every one of you the due recognition you deserve, because in our line of work, there are lots of emergencies that take place behind the scenes that passengers are not aware of. We obviously have an obligation each time to respond to the airport. It could be any time of the day and or night. So can I ask each and everyone that is here as a family member, as a friend, as a spouse to please stand up. Let us all stand up.
Okay. And just how important are our partners? I mean, with Carte Blanche, with the travel that we do, we're very grateful for their support. Bongiwe, really a great honor to speak to you again. And those aren't just sort of, just not mouthing that, because we go back.
Yeah.
Now, what we go back to is when King Shaka was just a pup. In fact, it was still being built. And I was just so amazed at what it took to build a greenfields airport, as you call it. And you were heading up the relocation from Durban International to the south. And you've been busy since then. I mean, there was King Shaka, and I know then you went to Brazil for a while, was Sao Paulo airport there. And now you've been GM in Gauteng for 3 years.
Yep.
So been busy.
It's been busy, and my transition really into Gauteng has not been that difficult. I regard this as having been home away from home. This, if you recall, this is where my career in aviation started. 17 years ago, 4 months and 1 day. So it's been a great ride. I also have a wonderful team that supports me immensely. So the transition has been smooth.
17 years?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, well, I mean, that shows your love for ACSA, your commitment, your long service. Like I've been at Carte Blanche for just more than 29 years now. No, it wasn't for applause. No, I was just going to point out that I started at the age of 16, and it's been a long road. But, to be serious, time marches on so rapidly. We're on this parabola of technology and trends. I mean, you've got local and international demands. So what is ACSA doing to keep up with this pace of change?
Wow, thank you for that question. Looking at airports companies South Africa, the past 2 years have really been interesting for us. We went back to the drawing board and we developed a vision for ourselves, which we refer to as Vision 2025, the intent of which is really to make us to be the most sought-after partner in the world for the provision of sustainable airport management solutions. In fact, reflecting on this, in early part of 2014, you'll recall that I actually did make contact with Carte Blanche, given the wonderful work and partnership we had with you.
That's right.
As we're about to open King Shaka International Airport. At that time, I and a few of my colleagues were living in Brazil. So we were exploring an opportunity for Carte Blanche to possibly showcase to South Africans the wonderful work we were doing in Brazil, which was really part of us trying to expand our footprint globally. So that's what we've really been doing as a company.
Now, I guess we're talking now from ACSA, that macro perspective, but where does our Tambo International fit into this vision that you have?
Of course, given who we are and how we contribute to the total revenue of the entire company, it was important for us as a leadership team of the airport to much earlier this year to go on a strat planning session wherein we bedded down that which we thought was the best direction for the airport. So the focus and the intent of that strategic plan is to ensure that at all times, together with all of the stakeholders that are in this room, we offer quality and seamless passenger experience to all of our users of our airports. So as part of that strategic plan, we came up with 5 core pillars. And at the heart of these pillars, the first critical one is around people. It's important that we work hard at ensuring that we have a nurtured and engaged human capital, because all that we do, we achieve through others. And it's also important that we continue to work at maintaining trustworthy relationships with our airport stakeholders. You know, Derek, at an airport, of everything that takes place, we are responsible only for 10, if not 15% of that value chain. The rest is the responsibility of everyone that's here today. So hence that pillar. And the third pillar for us was to ensure that we will find ways of demonstrating that our operations are reliable at all times. We obviously own massive infrastructure, both civilly in terms of all of the engineering and IT equipment and systems. So that is important for us. And the fourth core pillar is the programs that we invest in to ensure that at all times we enhance the customer experience and we become more responsive, because today's passenger is so discerning. They know what they want, even the young ones who obviously, for example, want to go through terminals that are Wi-Fi enabled. As I think the MEC spoke about the fact that at some airports, sometimes you don't even need to be hooked on your phone. There are other things you can do. But, provision of Wi-Fi, for example, is important. And last but not least, we obviously need to ensure that we contribute to the bottom line. So we need to continuously look at ways in which we can increase our revenue. So that's what, as OR Tambo, linking into the company vision, we focused on.
I'm glad you called them discerning rather than bloody fussy, which I think a lot of them are. Okay, you spoke of nurtured and engaged employees. Now, I believe that you've actually partnered with some of your airline stakeholders to actually recognize and reward employees who've gone way beyond the call of duty.
Oh yeah, that's why that's the first pillar. And perhaps before I unpack that pillar a little, I'd like to acknowledge Valette Pauls, who's the station manager for Emirates, which is obviously one of our important airlines. I had lunch with her not so long ago, and the challenge she put to me and my leadership team, she said that, Bongiwe, we need to think of ways of bringing about a communal spirit within the airport, similarly to that which we had in the run-up to 2010. So recognizing that there's that need, when we had 7 of our employees who possibly at the risk to their own safety, caught a passenger that on their person had almost 3 kilograms of cocaine. One of these employees, in fact they're all here, but one of them is a cleaner, contracted to one of the companies we've contracted with. We felt that we need to partner with the airlines, because for us, we think that if we can start to share our successes, celebrate our people together, it's going to create that communal spirit. So I'd also like to recognize Common Airlines, because were it not for their support, starting at the level of Eric Fenter, who unfortunately could not be with us tonight, we're able to receive sponsored tickets at no cost to us, because as a state-owned company, the issue of cost containment is, it's something that we must be conscious of. So we sent our staff to Cape Town and to Durban. They attended a similar function to this, and they were recognized at those airports. And last but not least, the general managers at Cape Town and Durban, they ensured that with their partnerships with the KZN Tourism Board and the Cape Town Tourism, there were also tickets that were sponsored for staff to be taken on tours. Now, these are employees, whilst one of them worked at an airport for 18 years, they've never been inside an aircraft. They've never slept at a hotel. So that which we demand of them as being so critical in providing an excellent service, we felt that it was time that we make them experience that and be, so that they could be passengers themselves. And the intention and our hope is that it will now inspire others to really do so much more.
I just think it's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I mean, there's so few organizations recognize their employees right throughout the spectrum, and they're often your interface with the public, and they are key members of the team. And I just think it's a trend that has got to happen, that we recognize people throughout. So well done. I think that's absolutely fantastic. And of course, it's an incentive to all your players in ACSA. So well done. I just want to go to pillar number 2, I think it is, steadfast and trustworthy relationships with airport stakeholders.
Yeah.
Okay, I just want you to expand on that focus and what it really means.
So, Derek, again, in order to move forward on a sustainable basis, we need to invest time and effort in order to really maintain excellent working relationships with all of our stakeholders. For us, this is quite a myriad of stakeholders. They include airlines, ground handlers, cargo operators, cargo freighters, retail and advertising concessionaires, government agencies at a local, provincial, and national level. So a key focus of ours is really to take to heart the feedback we receive from our customers and passengers. And given the strides that we've made as part of this focus on collaborating and maintaining these relationships, we're happy to announce that this past quarter in 2017, we moved from position 29 to 24 as part of our ACI World Rankings. So this is a measurement that is used all over the world, and for an airport of our size, we fall within what is regarded as a medium category, an airport that has between 15 and 25 million passengers. So this is quite a big achievement because our board, through the KPIs that it has set, its expectation is that by 2020, OR Tambo International Airport, when compared to airports of its size, needs to be at position 20, and by 2025, OR Tambo International Airport needs to be at position 15 in terms of being regarded as an airport that offers excellent customer experience. So that's why we invested in such a function to recognize everyone that contributes to that.
So amidst all similarly sized airports around the world, OR Tambo International is number 24. I think that's amazing.
You seem rather surprised, though, Derek. Eh?
Well,
I think that's. I think sometimes as South Africans, we do tend to underestimate our own power as well as our own influence in the world. Wouldn't you agree?
I agree. Even as a confirmed carte blanche cynic, I have to agree. I mean, South Africa's got a lot, and South Africans have got a lot to be really proud of. So, well done. I think you and your team deserve another round of applause. That's amazing. Something going up in the world. Eh? Okay, but there's always a but, hey? Yeah. So where to from here? Those are your goals. You've set them out. How do you ensure that those 5 strategic pillars and your leadership team's focus delivers those vital results?
For us, we have no choice, Derek. Firstly, if I may confess, I am a hard task madam. But on a serious note, as a team, we'll remain focused on achieving all of our goals set by the board, as well as those that are obviously determined by our own airport strategic plan, which we co-created. So each and every person that's part of the leadership team has really bought into that, together with employees reporting into us. So ultimately, though, we want to become a sustainable operation, which sees incremental but yet steady passenger growth over the next 2 to 3 years. At the airport, at the moment, we're currently processing no less than 21 million passengers per annum. We have 42 airlines that operate in and out of our airport, 36 of which are servicing international and regional markets, and 8 are servicing domestic market. Our growth is a bit on the marginal side, albeit off a higher base. So our international passengers have, year to date are growing by 2%, regional by 3%, and our domestic passenger growth is growing at about 1%. So we do want, as a minimum, say by 2021, to at least start to see quite a steady growth, given our current infrastructure.
So you have the capacity already, or very soon, to handle 28 million passengers. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's roughly 56 million feet. It's a lot of feet going through there. But now the tough Devi question. Now you are the largest, okay? You're the largest passenger volume within the stable, and what there are nine airports within the stable. And yet you are experiencing marginal growth compared to certainly King Shaka and Cape Town International. Why is this? Especially when we've got Hartbeespoort Dam here.
Firstly, if my colleagues were here, Dion Klute and Terence Solomani, I would obviously say that, I and my team will really take pride in the type of growth that they've experienced. In fact, I'm quite happy that a dear friend of the airport, MEC Vadi, is here, because for us now, what we need to focus on with the support of our business development division is to work hard at ensuring that using also the Aerotropolis, concept, we attract more airlines to fly into OR Tambo International Airport. We can do this, and those airports are seeing that type of growth because the provincial governments have, over the past few years, structured themselves well in terms of ensuring that they market, those cities. So the Aerotropolis, I think, for us will enable for us to work with the provincial government, particularly Gauteng Tourism Authority, the Gauteng Growth Development Agency, SA Tourism themselves, the City of Ekurhuleni, wherein we'll focus on route development, marketing opportunities to stimulate further growth of OR Tambo. So with that focus, I have no doubt that over the next 2 to 3 years, we'll achieve this. And we've now also entered into an agreement with City of Ekurhuleni and the provincial government that seeks to help all of us to achieve this in a structured way.
Okay, Bongiwe, we're looking at over the next 2 to 5 years. Now, I guess airlines are looking at more economical, more fuel-efficient aircraft. And what are these changes to fleets? And I think you have something called tail types that we should know about.
We're noticing, Derek, that airlines are becoming, they're investing more now in what we refer to as twin-engine type of aircraft, which are more fuel efficient, they are faster, and they are lighter. And they obviously do not emit as much carbon emissions as the 4-engine aircraft. So there's certainly a lot of that taking place. In our space, just last month, we celebrated Air Mauritius Airlines when they introduced their A350, which is the latest, wide-body type of aircraft. In fact, it is so fast such that on the day that it arrived for the first time, we were expecting it to land at 11:40, but at 11:19, it was on its parking bay. So Singapore Airlines, they also are replacing their Boeing 777 aircraft with this A350. So we're seeing a lot of that. Airlines are, are investing in aircraft that are going to ensure that their costs, I suppose, are minimized.
Okay, that would be, I guess, you'd call the hardware side of things. But how do you ensure that OR Tambo International remains attractive to customers?
Derek, for airlines, before they operate into a route, obviously they conduct their feasibility studies, but there are 4 elements that sit at the heart of that decision. The first one is really the cost that it would take. This is obviously all of the costs that are involved for that airline to service that route. The image is also something that they look at, and from an image point of view, the questions that would be asked as they are conducting their feasibility studies would be how safe would their tourists be if they were to service a particular route. Therefore, us working together with government agencies at a local, provincial and national level becomes important. The safety and security issues are also looked at, and in fact around the safety and security issues, I think what I'm also proud to share is that I'm sure you were starting to also observe with concern earlier this year when it was starting to appear that OR Tambo International Airport was, starting to be used as a criminal playground.
Certainly.
And, we really want to applaud the interventions of Minister Mbalula, who together with our own shareholding minister, Minister Maswanganyi, as well as the then Minister of SSA, Home Affairs, ensured that they got together to really look at ways of how do they then ensure that this national key point and this asset that's an economy stimulator is well protected. And to date, I'm proud to share that between July and now, we've had no less than 180 successes, which comprise of foiling of cargo robberies, seizure of counterfeit goods, drug busts, and so forth. So as it relates to that which airlines look at least at OR Tambo, the narrative is starting to be quite positive, and us working on our reputation is important. And the last thing that they look at is time. So for airlines, obviously, they would look at the time that it would take for them to fly from the airport of origin to the destination. But also within an airport, they look at the time that it takes for passengers to be processed, for connectivity, particularly if you're transiting, say, from London to Kenya. So those minimum connecting times are also looked at. So those are the things that airlines look at. And all of these factors, those that are within our control or those that we need to partner with others in order to improve on, we continue to do that.
I was speaking to Avi earlier about time, and it's quite an interesting concept because I do find that you do move through OR Tambo pretty quickly, and I think that's absolutely fantastic from all sides. Very rarely do you get huge delays like sometimes overseas. And I didn't know managing this beast, OR Tambo International, was so challenging, but it is obviously. But I want you to take us ahead 10, 15, 20 years ahead when I'll probably be leaving Carte Blanche and describe what the airport would look like.
So over and above us ensuring that we fully align to Vision 2025 and we achieve our own strategic plan, the next focus for us over the next few years has to be traffic growth, working hand in hand with our business development division. But however, at OR Tambo, there are a couple of constraints at the moment. So in order for us to reach that 28 million mark, which is the design capacity of our current infrastructure, there are a number of projects that will now be implementing. The first one will be constructing additional international boarding gates. So by end of the next financial year, there'll be 6 additional international boarding gates. That area at international is quite constrained. We'll also be reconfiguring some of our Delta apron parking stands. We do have constraints in terms of parking wide-bodied aircraft, in particular the A380. So this project will help us with that. And the parking stands will be multi-configured so that there's optimal utilization of that subsystem. And further to this, we'll also be embarking on a development of what you refer to as remote apron parking stands. These stands, Derek, will be built within the footprint of what you refer to as midfield. In future, when we've reached capacity within the current Western Precinct, we'll build a new terminal between the current 2 runways. So these remote apron parking stands are going to be constructed there, and then in future, when we also build a terminal, they will already be at that area. And the last but not least project that we need to embark on quite soon is a reconfiguration of our transit facility. Derek, a well-kept secret is that ACSA actually owns 10 airports and not 9. And they own 10, ACSA owns 10 airports, there's one with 2 terminals, or 2 airports in one. The transit facility at OR Tambo, we process no less than 4 million transiting passengers per annum. If you look at the size of our airports, we process 21 million total at OR, Cape Town at 10 million passengers, King Shaka 5 million. So arguably, given the complexity of what we manage, it can be argued that the 4th largest airport is inside OR Tambo. And believe it or not, and airlines know this frustration, that facility, the transit facility, in spite of it handling 4 million passengers, has not been refurbished since we took over in 1993. So this is a priority project for us, which will definitely take us up until our capacity within this precinct. So looking at the future, as I did say, we will, once we reach capacity, our master plan has started to look at us, at how possibly we'll need to have a split operation between the current precinct and what we call midfield. So OR Tambo in the future is going to have ultimate capacity of 80 million passengers. There's going to be an efficient way of operating also on air side. There will be no runway crossings, which currently happen. So the future is looking bright for us, and I think the focus now, MEC Vadi knows that I've given him homework. We need to just really work with the province, with the city of Ekurhuleni, our business development division, to ensure that we really, find more airlines to operate out of OR Tambo, and through the platforms of vehicles that the province has, look at airline incentivization and look at marketing opportunities that would make it an attractive destination. So this is how the future looks like for us.
Well, interesting concept, 2 airports. I've never thought about that. But do we have lots of space? We don't want to have to move like in KZN. That would be a big move.
We actually have lots of space. In fact, when I looked at RSVPs, I'm aware that the CEO of Denel Aviation is possibly in the room. We have quite a large pockets of land within our Tambo. Some of it we've segregated for non-aviation purposes, and the other we obviously have ring-fenced for our future expansion.
Right, last question. Just looking at the short term, 2018 is around the corner. What does it hold for you and the ACSA team?
We just have to remain focused and have all hands on deck. We need to continue to drive our 5 strategic core pillars, and looking at where we are in the year, us together with everyone in the room. It's festive season. We therefore need to ensure that we put our best foot forward to give quality and seamless passenger experience to all of our visitors that are coming into the country this time. And our government agencies need to ensure that that national key point is secure as we work behind the scenes to attract more airlines to service this particular route.
Bongiwe, it's such a pleasure to talk to you after a few years. I hope you and the team do get a chance to relax a bit over the festive season. But all I can say is keep flying high in 2018, and congratulations on everything you've achieved. I think you deserve another huge round of applause. Thank you.